Let's quilt together, I guess. Today is another quilt day. Hold on, let me see if I can pause this for a second. Mm, A minute, wait. Well, anyway, whatever. Welcome to what I'm working on. I was working on her, and she was giving me a whole hard time, making my life a little bit miserable. So today, let's see if I can put this camera on here too. She's beautiful. Let me show you. Hopefully this camera's still working. There's moments where this camera decides not to work and to work. So welcome to my channel. My name is Lorena. I'm a long armor. And I just wanted to come up here and share with you this beautiful quilt. If you're here, please comment. I would love to hear from you. Let me see if I could turn the camera so that you can see the beauty of this beautiful quilt. Let me hold it there. Let me get another cord. I'm trying to use another camera to where, isn't it beautiful? How you been? How you doing? Happy Monday. Hopefully I'm loud enough, but not too loud that I'm annoying you. Let me put this on here, this camera. I was sharing some of the equipment that I use. I love you, hi. My time to quilt. I'm quilting, I think you're Just Jones, right? I am quilting your quilt, a quilt like yours. I'm looking for a box, okay? It's on its way. Hopefully this week sometime or next week. Hold on, let me plug this in. I was wanting to finish row 1 before I got up here, but I was having thread breakage issues. I'm also having issues with the thread. It's a beautiful quilt. The thread is skipping. So I'm having really beautiful consistent stitches, and then I'm having big, like pretty long stitches. So before I went up here, I decided to try to figure that out. I thought it was maybe one of my sensors that was causing the problems. And then I thought, well, maybe it's the needle. Okay, maybe it's my tensioners. I try to put hopefully, let me see. I'm going to show you that quilt in that view. Isn't that beautiful? It looks very, hold on. Sometimes when you get the camera towards a light source, you get a weird glare. That's why I got, hopefully the light on that camera changes. So I literally spent a good, no, it just went black. I literally spent a good 2 hours cleaning the machine. That's just stupid, right? Cleaning the machine and dealing with like jumping stitches. Anyway, it's not the most fun. Hold on. Come on, cameras. Work for me. This one should be working, but it just went black for a second. Hold on. You know, I was talking about this camera, how it broke on me, but the quality of the camera is beautiful. And then so what I'm going to do, I ended up getting this foam on it. Oh, maybe I'll do that. I have to kind of like jigger it. The word jigger. To keep it up. Hold on. You know, I'm a good problem solver here. So the thread was jumping stitches, and then I had a client's quilt up here. I've had this quilt for a little bit, And I was thinking, you know what? I think the lady wants me to embroider on the quilt. And you can embroider after you've quilted a quilt, but what ends up happening is you see the embroidery on the back. And so I was like, I have a feeling. And then I went back to my client's text. I had it on here. I was ready to long arm it. I was ready to go. She's like, yeah. Can you put a name on it? Here, let me see. Yeah, I told you I messed this camera up. It's a great camera though. Maybe this is, hold on. It's undoing on me. It's like, see that I had to put, y'all, you don't need to know. I'm supposed to be a professional. Yeah. YouTube is not about, well, there are some YouTubers that are really great professional videographers and stuff. I'm not her. I am when I edit. I'm really good at editing. But I know a while back I pissed off somebody because I was moving the camera. I really made that person mad. Anyway, but it's fine. So I want to use this camera because then I could take it off of the stand and bring you up close and you could really see what I'm talking about. I want you to see how bad the thread stitches are. A lot of times when you have like thread stitch problems, it could be, I'm making like a little band-aid for this dumb thing. It's not plugged in. Hold on. Did I plug it in? Come on. Hold on. So, yeah, she's plugged in. Okay. I'm going to bring you to this camera. This is the view of that camera. Isn't she beautiful? Very, like, sexy videography here. But I'm going to take it off. What I like about this camera is I could take it off. I'm going to move you so you can see how bad the stitches are. I'm going to move you here so you can see me while I'm moving. And I'm not making y'all dizzy. But, so I thought it was, you have several things. You have like two tensioners. I have two tensioners on the side of my machine. And I also have, okay, skipped stitches can be 3 things. Let me try to educate. I don't know. If y'all don't have a long arm, it's okay. But honestly, it's also with the sewing machine. One, the needle is not in the right position, or for the long armor, on regular sewing machines, the needle has like a little thing on the needle. Like Singer has a rounded surface and a flat surface, so you kind of know the direction of putting in the needle on most Singers. On the long arm, it has a circular shaft. Hold on, let me show you. And the problem with that is, let me show you the needles. Because it has a circular shaft, I don't know if you can see it. Does this have it? Watch me showing you a needle that doesn't, yes. No, wait. Yeah, this has a circular shaft. So on the long arm, sometimes for some reason I get confused. And then on the long arm, the way there's a groove. There's here. You probably can't see it, but I'll show it to you. It has a straight groove, and I think that's what kind of is an indicator of that's the front. But on the long arm, because it has a circular shaft and it doesn't have a kind of like it insets, it could kind of twist when you're torquing it and turning it. So like even a 1/16 of an inch of the needle being off, it causes the stitches to break, or the needle, yeah, the thread to break, because it's not, anyway. And there's some long armors apparently, machines, that some machines like dead front, like dead center right in the front, and some machines like just maybe a degree off, and they quilt perfectly even with a degree off, but mine is dead center. And then I get confused on which is the, anyway. So I was having thread breakage, and I was here for 2 hours, and I was like, is it the needle? Is it my tension? Is it the thread? And you're trying to troubleshoot. Anyway, yeah. So I should have had this completely done, because I like to have at least the row done when I'm quilting with y'all, because I don't want to keep you guys too long, even though I should shut up about that, because I still keep you for a good 2.5 hours. And it's just kind of, I'm sorry. Like y'all have nothing to do, like eat dinner or make dinner. But here, let me see. I want to show you the problems with my thread. Hopefully this camera, okay. And I'm going to move you so you can see, okay? So I had, I don't know if you could see it, the thread breaking here. And then you can see where I try to repeat and restart the long arm. So that's why you see 1, 2, 3 stitches. And I'm going to bring you up. But I want you to stay focused. So what I think I figured out is I tried a different type of needle, and that needle was causing the long arm to, the thread to break a lot. So then I thought, okay, maybe I have the long arm tension too tight. And I'll share with you what that means. But this is what I'm working on. And you're going to see there's a lot. These quilts are really hard to quilt, but I think they're so beautiful. They have a whole bunch of puddling. And I'll show you when I roll it. But I finished one, and I'm giving that away. It's already like prepared for someone. It's already committed. All right, hold on. So let me... what are you doing? Okay, so let me move that there. I'm gonna go ahead and roll the quilt on row 2, and then I have some little sweet things to share with y'all. I've been working on, there's this lady, hold on, let me see. I'm gonna move you here so you can see, I'm sorry, so you can see me specifically. I'm gonna move the camera back, because I don't need her right now, even though she's nice and strapped and ready to go. Someone asked me to 3D print something. I think her name is Kristen. Kristen. And so last night I found, all right, when you roll the quilt, or when I roll the quilt, I always give myself about that much on this first row, so I know where the first row ends. And the reason I do that is also too, I do not, so like this is 3 rows, or no, this is 3 rows across, 5 rows down. So the design is not big, even though I can make it really big because I have a long throat. Someone was asking me a while back, what do I recommend on the long arm quilting throat? I recommend you get as big of a throat as you possibly can afford. The bigger the better, because if you have a smaller throat, you end up quilting more rows and you end up quilting more, and that means you end up long arming for clients longer because you have a smaller throat space. I know there's like these beautiful machines like a Nova. There's a 14-inch throat, 18-inch throat. I think those throat spaces are too small. I recommend you get a longer throat. I believe mine's an optimal, Gammill optimal, Gammill Statler Stitcher Optimal, and I believe my throat space, shoot, I think it's 32. Is it 32? Hold on. Let me see. I believe it's 32. Does it say here? No. Let me measure. Yeah, I have a 32 throat space on my long arm. There's some long arms that have 26 throat spaces and 24 throat space. The longer, the better that you could afford. And if you can wait and get a longer throat space, because for example, this quilt is a queen size quilt. If I had a shorter throat space, so I have 32 inches and I ended up this design. Okay, so this design that I'm quilting on here, it's 18 inches wide. So it's a pretty good 18 inches from top to bottom. My recommendation is the better the throw space, the better for you. You'll save time and you'll save money, because the more you quilt for somebody, the more thread you're using and the more time. Now, smaller throat space quilts, they're wonderful. Okay, I'm not saying anything. For this quilt specifically, let's say I had only a 24 throat space, I would probably have, so if you have an 18-inch throat space, decrease it by 5 inches, because you're gonna lose space on the upper, on this. This kind of comes into the quilt. So I recommend, I know the lady, she had an 18-inch and she did a 16-inch design, and by the time she was done almost quilting it, the machine was hitting the back of like the pickup bar took some of that space, and so she couldn't, so she had to take it off the long arm, and she brought it to me, and I long armed the 2 more rows that she needed to do, because she put too big of a design based on her throat space. I don't know why I'm talking about that, but anyway, that's, someone asked me, so I'm answering. Let me see. Let me grab that design. I'm going to show you the quilt right now, what I'm doing. You can see how wrinkly it is. Hold on. There's that design. I'm going to go ahead and get start. Hopefully, and I'm going to light my iron. Light my iron. I'm going to turn it on. What is wrong with me? I recommend, when you have a quilt that has this much puddling, wet the heck out of it. Be careful, especially when you have a white background. I've had, don't tell my clients, I've had to iron their quilt, and when you have a wet background, browns, purples, and reds are dangerous, because I had, especially, and let me just share, if it's a batik, they bleed. So one time I had a client's quilt, and it bled on me. I wanted to cry like a crybaby. And all I was trying to do is iron some of the puddling that was going on. I don't know why I'm itchy right there, but iron some of the puddling that was going on. And I spent the next 4 hours wetting the area that bled. Dawn dish soap helps to, with a batting, dry batting, Dawn dish soap, put a little bit and then dab it. If you have any quilt bleeding where you have the colors bleed. So be careful when you're starching a white quilt or a light background quilt, because I got the bleed off. I did get it off. But it was just such a dumb, you don't think, like right now I'm ironing, and like to me, the flatter the quilt is, the better for me to long arm it. And I'm trying to prevent pleats so that the quilt just quilts really beautifully for the client. And I just didn't think it through. And then I was like, oh my gosh. This does have, but batiks, be careful with batiks. They bleed like no other. Let me put water. And then right now, because this quilt is, so, I'm using 100% starch. I usually water down my starch a little bit so that I could save the starch. Hold on, let me try. Don't judge me, okay? If I drop water, I'll drop water on the quilt. Usually I'd go to the table and do this, but I don't have a camera set up, so you won't see me, and then I disappear from the screen. The things you think about when you're YouTubing. Hold on. And then, so I'm using 100% starch. What is that? Right now, 100. I love heavy steam. You cannot go wrong. But be careful. You don't want to, like, this is my quilt, so I'm not so concerned or worried about it. Even though I'm going to give it away, right? And then there's shout. If you ever have the quilt bleeding on you, you shout. Let me show you the fullness of the quilt. Is this the screen? I'm going to move you, okay? It was really full. Look how beautiful the color. Ah. Come on. Look how beautiful that quilt is. She's so lovely. She's such a beautiful quilt. All right, I'm going to move you all here. I didn't buy the 30-inch machine because my arms are too short. Yes. Anything bigger than, this is Amy. Anything bigger than, there's an 18-inch. I think Inova has an 18-inch quilt. I think that's not big enough. And I'm not saying, like, let me just say this too. If you are a custom quilter and you want to be custom quilting for people, an 18-inch quilt is great, and that is big enough. Because when you're custom quilting, you don't, let me see. You don't need a big throat space. You need a very small throat space because you're working in kind of like 12-inch sections or 18-inch sections or 14-inch sections when you're custom quilting. My quilt, yes, I can custom quilt. As a matter of fact, I'm going to do some custom quilting in this coming week or so. You can custom quilt with mine. Of course, it's a gamma, whatever. The thing that I think that's hard, it's a heavier machine because I have a heavier throat space. So I have issues with the machine is too heavy. And when I'm custom quilting for a long time, I end up having issues with my forearm. You're doing so much better. It was like, I have to quilt a quilt for my client, and I was like, I can't be quilting her quilt when my quilting, when the, when the machine is skipping stitches. Like, that's ridiculous. I can't be dropping that off or giving that to a client. What I'm doing is moving a little bit, and I'm raising up the pickup bar. So yeah, it just depends what you're gonna do. I know there's a girl, she's on YouTube, and I know she does beautiful custom quilting, and she has a very small throat space on her long arm, and I believe she does have a gamma, and she has a smaller throat space, which I think a smaller throat space for custom quilting, because the machine is lighter, you can maneuver it better, you have more control because she's smaller, and but I think anything bigger, am I out of bobbin? I'm out of bobbin. I think a bigger throat space, especially if you're going to do a business like what I do, where you're quilting for people, I think it's better for you because you could get more quilts done quicker. For example, let me move this here. Like this quilt, I'm only doing, I think I could literally get it to where I could only do 4 rows. I ended up doing 5 rows. And the reason I'm doing 5 rows is the design that I picked is a very simple design. Let me see this stitching right there. Glasses. She's beautiful. Let me measure. Hold on. Let me see. All right. I think she's good. Let's get her started. Let's get her started. And you can see, I hope I need an iron. They need an iron. All right. So, because I rolled it up a little bit, so I didn't get to iron this specific area. And sometimes, I iron a couple times. I iron a lot. And the reason I iron a couple of times is sometimes the fabric is wet and you need a little bit of time for the fabric to soak up the starch. And so sometimes you'll take up some fabric. It'll take up really good for you the first time. But let's say you have a lot more fabric. If you go back again and just starch it just a little bit more, it will take in more. And you know, like when you wash blue jeans and you put them in the dryer, they're tighter. The neat thing about cotton fabric, it does have a tendency to soak in or like draw in, or the fiber to tighten. Another thing too, if you have a quilt that you have had to unstitch stitches, and you have stitch lines around the design, let me see here. I'm going to pull this. I need to pull the back. The back is sagging. Pull this, wet the fabric. Let's say you had to unstitch a whole row and you just have a lot of little stitches. Wet the fabric, like really wet it. And then with steam in a hot iron, you can literally close in all those little holes from the stitching or quilting. And hopefully this is high enough. Let me roll this pickup bar. Let me see. Oh, that's pretty good. Okay, I'm pretty close. I'm pretty close to this edge, and that's what I'm looking at. And then I wish I'll show you these little puddles and puckers. Isn't she beautiful, Tammy? I don't know what happened with this video. Hold on. Look at that. And I'm going to take it off and show you the puckers. Bring you back here. Oh, I have you with me. I'm like trying to I don't want to move. Let me show you. All right. What is she doing? All right. Let me show you. It's going to come around here. Look how beautiful she's quilting. And then this quilt, when you're quilting something like this for anybody, You need to kind of be on top of it a little bit more. It's not a straight quilt. Do you see all that? This, I may go back and re-iron it for a minute, but I'm going to be on top of it a little bit and make sure that it doesn't pleat, and it may pleat. Sometimes you just can't prevent that. But let me show you the design I put on here. All right, I'm gonna move you to the computer. All right, hold on. Gary started. Hold on. No, you're not working right now. Why? You're not gonna work right now. Sorry. I'm trying to prevent it from pleating. Even though there's a tiny pleat right there. And sometimes you just can't help it. And that's why I was gonna do a video, 10 things to do for your long armor. One, make sure your iron is ironed. Make sure your quilt is ironed flat as you can flatten it if you want your long armor to have the best success. Another thing I was going to do the video is I got a quilt that had cat urine all over it. Make sure your quilt is clean. And I understand it was she was a sweet senior. Her daughter brought it to me to long arm it. The lady hadn't long armed, or not long armed. She hadn't pieced in a very long time, so the quilt was just laying around. She had cats, which is fine. Any animal is wonderful. Their family. But I ended up, when I got the quilt from the client, I ended up having to, I had to wash it. I was going to, and I know this is disgusting, I was thinking, you know, maybe I could go ahead and put it on the long arm and long arm it. And then I was like, oh my God, my needle would be going through that urine and that filthiness. And then urine is very acidic and corrosive. So I was like, what the hell are you thinking? No. So I went ahead and I washed the quilt for the lady. And you know, when you wash a quilt that's not been quilted, the edges were fraying really bad. And I just had to kind of cut off all that extra fabric. And then sometimes when you wash a quilt top, you end up having seams that are not secure. And so I had to also go back and fix some of her seams. And also too, let me show you a trick. I wish I could show you. If you, instead of ironing all the time, like going up and down, sometimes leaving your iron in a section that's full, the heat will take it in. All right. And ironing tricks. I also iron hover, where you hover. Yeah. Just long arm quilting tips that probably, you know, like whatever. The reason I sometimes don't want the iron on top of the fabric, some fabrics you have to be careful that you don't overheat, especially satins. But look how beautiful. Let me get the other camera and see if I could get you. It won't work. Hold on. So you can see. I don't know what happened here. Is it there? Can you see it? Trying to get this one to work. Trying to get you. There you are. See if I could get it. For some reason this camera is very... Oh, beautiful. You could hear the machine having a moment. Ah, that was a lot of stitches. It's okay. Sometimes you have a lot of seams. Sometimes you have a lot of seams and the machine can jam. Let me see if I can get this to work. I wanted to show you some things. Oh. Isn't she beautiful? Row 2. Oh my God, we're almost done with row 2. This is... Hold on one second. I'm going to move you here. I don't know why it's doing that. Hold on, guys. I'm setting something up. That's why you don't see me. I hope it's okay. But you get to see the long arm working, and she's lovely. She's beautiful. 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 All right, let's see. I got something for you. Okay. Hello, Christy. How are you? How you being? How you doing? I'm so... Let me... Hold on. I was cleaning. Hold on. I don't want y'all to see my mess, but it's okay. You can see my mess, right? It's all right. It's all right. It's okay. I'm going to show you. I said that I would come here on a live stream and that I would show you some of the things that I'm playing with or that I'm making for myself, for my, you know, just for quilting and stuff. I'm going to move you here because it's show and tell time with Lorena. She's on row 2 on this quilt. She's almost done. But Christy, I'm so excited. Okay, I'm so excited. Okay, Christy messaged me that she found on Maker World. I don't know if she found it on Maker World, but she found they're called sewing buddies. Hold on, let me go. Me, so you can see it. It's a sewing buddy. I'm going to show you in a minute where I'm going to put it. Hold on, let me see if it go out. Pan out, please. Thank you. Thank you. I have to tell it. Look, is she neat? Messy means you're working, yes. Did you find the file? Yes, look. Mm, 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 mm. Look, they dance. I am doing another set. Hold on, come on. Come on, machine, please. Don't scan on my beautiful skin. Oh my God, it turned out so cute, right? Hold on, let me bring it. This one had, see? This one had, it looks more like, hold on, let me get, I'm gonna move you here. I'm gonna move you different, okay? Come on, camera, please give me a break. Okay, thank you, thank you. Okay, so she messaged me and she asked me if I could make these. I found them on the thing, and look how cute they are. Those little legs, right? The little legs. Okay, so hold on, okay? I'm gonna go here. Hopefully this camera doesn't mess up on me like it always does. It's not gonna mess up on me. It's not. It's gonna do what I'm asking it to do. So I'm gonna move you here because I'm gonna go back here. I'm gonna be over here. Thank you. Okay, so I need to do row 3. So what I'm gonna do is I'm gonna go ahead and start getting this quilt ready. I know this is like quilt with Lorena, but at the same time, watch Lorena's insanity. I'm sorry. So I'm gonna stop it. And so, okay, so yes, you can see me. It's moving around. Okay, but look, this is what I'm gonna do. Come on, show them everything. Come on, pan out. Give me a light. Come on. Okay, so I thought I'll show you in a minute. My long arm has this pull thing that usually I put scissors on. I'll show you in a minute, okay? I'm like a little girl. You should see me with my grandkids. I make my grandkids toys every week now because I can make them. Let them see you. All right, I'm gonna move it here. I'm gonna move the camera. This camera's so weird. It was one of my most beautiful, brightest. I think I have the exposure wrong, but look. Do you see it? The little buddy. I thought, well, I have a big old thing here. I was gonna put it there, but I was like, it could go there too. It's supposed to be a sewing buddy. Anyway, Kristen asked me, or Christine, I'm hopefully saying your name right. She asked me if I could make some, or if I could find the file. See if I can find it. Hold on. See if I could find the file. And yesterday night, it takes about 4 hours to make 3. Let me see if I can get it. Okay, you're working. Thank you. Thank you. It takes a good 4 hours to make 3 of them. I need to roll this. Okay. So I set it up and I went to sleep. And when I woke up, guess what I got? I got little sewing buddies. And I think I've made 9 already. So here I'm rolling the quilt, and then I'm going to have to start ironing again. Sometimes, guys, prep is what takes the longest. Well, it's not prep. Yeah, it is prep. So, like, I think quilting the quilt didn't take that long. What took the longest is flattening out the quilt so that I could quilt it. So anyway, let me see. Do you see all the puddling? It's horrible. Hold on. Let me move you to this camera so you can see all the. And then in this one, what is it called? Best press, I usually kind of wet, I usually, what do? I wet it. Some best press, I'll buy a big old bottle, and I have these little leftover bottles from years of using it. I will go and have one bottle that has half best press, half water, because I'm trying not to go through all the best press starch stuff. Sometimes I'll use, oh no, sorry. Sometimes I'll use half water, half best press. Sometimes a third best press, 2/3 water. And then sometimes like this one, it's fully just the best press starch. And depending on the quilt that I'm working on is which bottle I use. Like this one, I don't know if you can see how puddly the quilt is. So I need a lot more starch to straighten it out. So before I started this, before I started filming, I went ahead and got a bottle ready. And then what else do I need to do? I needed to stitch it down. I need to starch it or iron it. And so you just saw me quilt like the row. It was really fast. And then I always iron on this far end. Like where the machine's gonna start is where I iron. Because what I could do is if I'm gonna hurry to long arm it, that's not hot enough. Ooh, what did I just do? I jumped it off the frame. If I'm in a hurry, I can iron this area where I'm going to start long arming, because this is usually where I start. I don't know if you can see me. What camera do I have on you? Let me turn you so you can see me. Yes, I'm hooked. I did 9 of them. As a matter of fact, I did one with but I did a different style because they had 2 different versions. They had, that one looked like it has, this one looks like it has ribbon on it. Can you see it? It doesn't look necessarily like thread. It looks ribbony. I know it's a thread spool. I was looking for the sewing machine because they had a little sewing machine buddy. Like a little sewing machine with the sewing machine. I was looking for that one. And then I decided I'm going to put it on my machine because, you know, I'll remember you. Give me your address. I think I have your address. Message me your address. I'll send you one. Let's see. Hold on one second. Let me iron, okay? Let me iron. Let me iron. And then I'm going to do show and tell on what I've been 3D printing. Can you see me? Yes. And honestly, I think I have one more of these. The reason I'm quilting these is they're hard to quilt. This is annoying. In a minute, you'll see how puckery it is. But I want to iron as much as I can with y'all. Let me see if I can. Why is it not showing the... Hopefully it'll show. Okay, I'm changing the... I want to get it as flat as I can so that I don't have to manage it so much. So sometimes ironing for a good couple minutes is really a good thing because then you don't have to manage the quilt as much. And I know ironing is annoying. Make your equipment, have your iron close to you And then you can see, I don't know if you can see, this quilt is puddling really bad. Then, hold on. I need to measure this edge. Measure it. Make sure it's in line. The design is aligned. But look, it is messy up here. It is like a messy bed. No, I'm going to just move the design down then. What I'm doing is, instead of moving the long arm, right now I'm finding placement. There it is. I'm going to get a camera. I'm going to bring you here so you can see how bad the quilt looks. So sorry. I don't know if you can see the messiness. There's no, well, maybe I'm going to get, like I'm trying to stretch the fabric straight. And if I stretch this way, it pulls this way and puckers over here. If I stretch this way, it pulls and puckers over here. So what I'm going to do, these are tricks that I've learned. I sent you, yes, but I didn't find them. Yes, hold on, okay. Let me iron. I found 2 of them, and I have them on my camera. And I think I need to use a magnet. What I'm going to do, and this is a trick I've learned. So I'm going to make sure that this whole side is nice and straight. Do I have a magnet there? And then I get a magnet. And I bought these magnets at Harbor Freight. And then at Harbor Freight, they had, hold on one second, let me put this on the, I was going to set it. I bought these magnets at Harbor Freight, or Lowe's. I think it's Harbor Freight. And they had these 2 little screw holes. I don't know if you see the hole there. I put little doorknob cabinet hinges. What I'm going to do is I'm going to grab this and pull the fabric and, hold on, pull the fabric taut on this section. I'm going to have the long arm start on this section. I need to move you over, huh? Stop. Let me see. Pretty good. Okay, let's get started. Come on, girl. You my sweet angel. I have to talk nice to my machine. Okay. So I'm going to let it long arm this area that I've tried to straighten. Remember I was telling you if I pull one way, it'll pull a different way. Oh my gosh. Sometimes you have to go just row by row. Are you selling the little Sew Buddies? I don't know. Message me and I'll send you one. It's not even a thing. I did 9. I'll send 9 people one. Just message me on Messenger on Lorena's Quilting or Lorena Cadena. But I'm going to tell you what I am selling. And I'm so excited. So I'm going to get another I have a couple of these magnets. I have a couple of these magnets. They are so strong. Be careful. That's why I had knobs on them. Why? That's why they have knobs on them, because it's hard to pry apart. Hold on. I need strength. Okay. They're real strong. So I had knobs, but they broke off. So I need to get new knobs. I'm out of bobbin thread. Hold on. Let me get the bobbin thread. Lord, I'm tired. All right, let's see. Let me move this. Let me put a bobbin thread. Let me come over here. I'm sorry. Pardon me, excuse me. Pardon me. Pardon me, excuse me. Pardon me. Okay, well, I want to show you how bad the quilt top looks. But I need to get the cameras to work for me. Let's see. All right, there you go. I wonder if this camera is working. No. I'll get it to work right now, though. All right. I'm going to restart because she ran out of bobbin. Restart. I'm using a soft mint. It's like a white mint. All right, let's see. Let me move you here. Isn't she lovely? I sent you a text message. Yes, they do pinch your finger. They pinch your whole hand. Yes, they do. Let me see, let me see. I was so excited. Okay, let me show you the... I'm gonna bring you here. Bring you this down. Look how beautiful she's quilting. I'm not gonna worry about her if she gets pleats or not. She's not, I'm not keeping her in a quilt gets pleaty anyway. Or do I? I'm trying to get the magnet to pull the fabric. Let me iron real quick. I'm a little bit obsessive. Let me see, where does she have? Can you see me? I'm right here, okay? I'll be right back. Let me turn this around. I'm trying to go ahead and iron it again. One last good old try. I did put the magnets on here. I don't know if you can see the magnets right there. I am puddling. I really do try to make this as beautifully clean as possible. I'm going to go ahead and get this camera. Hopefully I don't lose your connection. I want you to see how flat I got her compared to how unflat she was. Hold on. I'm going to move you, okay? I'm letting you know. Look how flat I got her. But look at that mess. And what I did is I flattened this section. If I only had one that magnet, I would use the magnet just for this section. Straighten this out, use the magnet right here in this section, and then keep going. But you can see how flat I got her in comparison to she was like that. There we are. And then I did iron again, and sometimes like you iron the first time, the fabric is wet. The second time, the fabric is a little bit less, it's dry but not completely dry, and then you can go back, and every time you iron, you get your quilt flatter and flatter. Isn't that beautiful? But you can see I'm gonna have a hell of a time with that. Ugh. But it's okay. We are survivors here. Let me move you. I'll put her down. This way you don't have to deal with. What is she? Hold on. I didn't ask. I don't know what that's about. All right. I don't know what I have on my computer. It's why. But let me bring you here. I want to share with you some of the things. I ended up finding on Maker World a designer. I'm going to bring you down because I'm going to need to sit down for a second. Hi, how are you? Look, I'm going to bring you down because there you are. Let me get this camera to work for me. Come on. Come on, lady. If not, I'll get another camera. Yes, okay. I went to Maker World, and there was this lady who made these beautiful binding clips. And they're like binding clips. I ended up designing my own, but kind of like being inspired by her idea. She had one that had hearts, and then I went to her website. Her design, her name is DC Designs. That's who she is, who designed the beautiful, and their hearts, and it's a binder clip. Let me see if I can show you a picture. And I went on her website. Thank you, Christian. I got your address. I went on her website. Okay. Sorry, distracted. Okay, hold on one second. Okay, I'm all distracted. So, I wanted to show you her designs because I think it's beautiful. But I went on her website because I was going to go ahead and see, like, I just kind of wanted to follow her, and I also wanted to talk to her. Oh, hold on one second. I'm trying to find the design, okay, so you can see it. No, browse history. They're these. They're these. I don't know if you can see that. And the way she has it, she has the circle on the center of the plate. I don't know if you can see it. And she has a heart that snaps onto the clip. So I went ahead and I printed a whole bunch of them because I have a drawer full of binding. I don't know if you all have drawers full of binding too. As a matter, let me bring you down a little bit. No judging. Drawer full of binding. And I'm the way I do my binding, I do not iron and fold my binding anymore. I feel like that's a waste of time. I tend to go ahead and just, while I'm sewing the binding on, just fold it over. And then as it's going through, I just keep folding it over, if that makes sense. Sorry, don't look at my drawer. See, it doesn't exist. Okay, so she ended up, I'm going to bring you here. So I was going to go, she has a website and she sells these for $15 each. $15 for two. Her heart ones. And I went ahead and it took me a while. I wanted to see if I could make my own style, because for you to claim something that's yours, you have to change it in 4 different ways. And I'm trying to recreate it differently than what she made. I still want to give her credit because I think she's a genius. She did a beautiful job. And so what I did is she ended up having the whole, I'm not going to call it like the little bud, the nipple here on the plate. I made a whole bunch of hers. I organized one of my drawers downstairs. And what I found is that I didn't kind of like the hole there, or the bubble on the fabric. It didn't impinge the design, the rolling the fabric or anything. It just kind of looked weird to me. So I ended up, when I was using hers, I was like, you know what? I really think that I should have 3 openings. And one reason I wanted 3 openings is so that I could lock in the fabric. Oh, there's this binding. Let me find a whole, I have a whole thing of binding over here. And what I found is, so, oh, these aren't sewn. Okay, yeah. Whether they're sewn or not, you can still use this. So what I found is I tend to just make it, and then I would roll it in a roll and then pin it. Hi, how are you, Rhonda? Nice to have you here. I love you, girl. So what I did is, I don't iron. I hate ironing binding. I feel like it's a waste of time. And when I heard somebody else on YouTube, I don't know who, says that she didn't iron, I tend to just kind of roll the binding and make myself like a roll. I would use toilet paper to roll it, and then I would pin it. And then as I sewed, I would go ahead and fold it, and then kind of keep folding it straight, sew, fold it straight, and sew. And I found that that saved me an hour on creating the binding. Okay, I hate making binding. It's like the worst for me. Not my favorite thing to do in the world. Hand binding, I don't mind as much, but making binding, So, I ended up creating my own. I changed it in 4 different ways. She had a straight line. I did a curve so I had more space, and I also elongated mine. Oop, come on, come out. I made mine longer. And then I added the circle, the clip area on the thing itself, and the thing that snaps into it, I added the circle there. She did a heart, I did circles. Come on. I'm going to move you here so you can see what I'm saying. Have a better view of what I'm talking about. So I ended up making a whole bunch of different designs. I ended up making butterflies. I ended up making doves. I don't know if you can see the dove. The neat thing is these are interchangeable. I ended up making crosses. And that, can you even see that? Isn't that beautiful? But different butterfly colors. And what I'm doing with my community is that she was selling 2 for $15. I created my own design, my own type. It has some of her like beautiful inspiration because she did it. It's like genius what she did. I want to be a genius like her. I just changed it to where it fit like what I liked. Let me show you how I'm going to bring you here to this camera. The machine is telling me to hold on. So I found that, like I said, I do not iron my binding. I just make it and then I would roll it by my hand. So what I found is that I added an extra slide and I also made these bigger. I know they have a whole bunch of, and one of you subscribers told me, Lorena, this is one of my favorite tools. Maybe you could create one. What she did is it looked like it had, hers was resin, made out of resin and glitter. And so what she did is hers kind of went out in an angle, like a triangle in this area. I wanted it to be close enough to the binding that it didn't give a lot of room for the binding to move around, so it stayed in place. But I also wanted it to dip in so that I had it had some space. Because when I was using the ones that I made, I found that let me move this forward. I want it pretty. I want it pretty. I found, see, and then so you don't have to iron your binding anymore. You could literally start kind of like hand pressing it by when you're putting it on this clip. And she was selling them for 2 for $15. And I think her name is DC Designs. I'm not necessarily sure if that's her name or her company name. And if you want to support her, please go and just and so I ended up making my own like but I also want to give her a shout out because her like she's like a genius like that. It was such a neat concept what she did. So what I'm doing is I'm not going to sell these on Etsy. But what I do want to do is if you're part of my community, message me. What I'm doing is I'm selling 10 for $25. I'm not selling them for $7 each. And this is why, and I'm only going to do it for a small period of time. And you have to message me on Messenger saying that you're interested in them, and then tell me the color and the type of design that you want. I even think I could do these, like, I was thinking of doing it with the laser where, like if you have a business logo, we could do a business logo on them for you. But anyway, so let me just do this real quick. And I'm only going to do it for a very short time. I talked to a couple friends, Miss Jeanette Jones, and the reason I'm selling 10, not 2 for $15, I'm selling 10 for $25. I'm charging $2.50 each one. And the reason I'm doing that is I feel like you can't, I don't think you have enough when you only have 2. I have so much binding in drawers from all the quilts. Now, of course, I'm a long armer and that's like the thing that I do, but I don't know about y'all. 2 is not enough for me. But the lady who told me, Lorena, you should make these, she's the one that told me that what she does is puts the binding on one of these, and what she's doing is that so here, let me, where am I? So here's it. I could add more. Usually like these, I would add to it even though they're not sewn, and then put all the colors together. But I'm going to just share with you how it clips. And she says what she does is she gets it ready. I'm going to do a different clip so you can see it. she gets it ready. This is on the binding for, what does she say for, she goes, it's ready for my client. Let me move it. Look how cute. And I'm only doing this if you're a subscriber and if you've been with me a while. So I'm just letting you know, or if you're on Lorena's Quilting Facebook group. I don't know if I should put this on the group. And I'm only printing 10. So I have these. I have the Dove ones. I even did Dash Hound ones. I did, where is it? So this is her design. So y'all can see her design. And she's a genius. Like, and let me see. And she has a heart. And I felt like this was too small. So I changed it on mine. I also added another one for locking. I also made it shorter and longer to fit. Because I end up quilting or binding queen size to king size quilts. I don't bind smaller quilts. I'm not saying this would be for a smaller quilt, but I wanted to, yeah. So if you want to go to her and support her, she's wonderful. This idea conceptually is genius. But she is selling these 2 for $14. I wanted to talk to her and ask her before I redesigned and made my own, if because I think you could get her consent to sell these. I could ask her permission to sell her designs. Instead, I said, you know what? I want to learn how to do things, and then I decided to make it because like I love the Lord. So I did Christian ones like with the dove. I did some with crosses. I did Dash Hound ones. Like I personally made them personally for me. And then I don't think 2 for $15. So you're buying them for $7 each, not including tax and shipping. And I don't want to take that away from her. She's wonderful. Like what she did is like genius. I want to just support my community for a small period of time. And if you're interested in these, I'm selling 10 for 25 bucks. And yeah, if you're interested, and it's a short period of time, because look, isn't it beautiful? And I was trying to do a sewing machine. I thought a sewing machine would be cool. I thought, and I already, one of my best friends, she's like, and the reason I want to do 10, it's, I don't want to print 2 for $5 and pay $8 for shipping. It's stupid. So let me show you here. But if you're interested, and if you're not, it's okay. I'm good. I was going to go to a retreat and see if anybody would want any. I ended up going, I'll show you a picture of my drawer. Let me see. Let me see. Kind of like that. I need to get it in better. I'll show you a picture of my drawer. You saw 2 drawers that are really bad. Okay, hold on. Let me see. And then let me let me show you this. Okay, real quick. I'll show you my drawer. I ended up having let me show you my drawer before. I'm going to show you a before and after of my drawer. So this is a before of my drawer where everything was just thrown everywhere. And then I made, come on, let me go out. I ended making like 10 clips from her design. And I was like, dude, I need, and then I went through them, and then I said, I need to make another set of 10. So I made 10 more, and then I needed to make another set of 10. And so let me show you how beautiful my drawer is. What I ended up doing is instead of laying them flat, I ended up laying them on the vertical, all of them. And so I ended up stacking them because some of them I had more binding fabric on, some I didn't. As a matter of fact, I came up here because I wanted to work on this drawer of binding, the like that, and this, and so what I was doing too is, you don't, when you're working on your binding drawer, you don't have to even have them all sewn together. For example, this one, like, this is just a cluster of them. Hold on. Like, this is a cluster of fabric that I could literally just, what I was doing too. So sometimes you cut your strips, and what I found for myself, and no judging, okay? I end up making the binding and they disappear on me. I don't know where I put it. I don't know what I did with it. I don't know where it went. I just don't know. And so you could literally just trim it. And what I'm doing here is I folded the last tail, and then I'm adding the last tail, and then I'm going around and I'm just rewinding it within itself. Well, let me see. So you can see. And so let's say you trimmed your binding and you don't want to lose it. You could literally put these together. And just like I added this strip, and then I'm going to go back. I'm going to add all these strips so that, and necessarily not together, but it's, let me move you here. It's not necessarily together, meaning where I've sewn it together, but I have this, all the fabric that goes to this binding. As a matter of fact, I think this was for another. And what I want to do is, if you're a client of mine, I want to bless you with one of the clips. I thought, and I wanted to bless my clients with a design that I created. So copyright says that for a product to be yours, you have to change it in 4 different ways. Redesign it in 4 different ways. So the way I did mine is I extended the length, that's 1. I decreased the width, that's 2. I added 2 grooves, like an extra groove. I added an extra groove here instead, and then instead of having the bolt, the nipple or whatever it was on here, I put it on this design. I also, hers were hearts. I ended up making my own dove, cross, butterflies. And now that I've literally, it was like a brain challenge to think conceptually how to create something like this. I had to kind of like, okay, how do you make a paper clip? Like, and how do you 3D a paper clip? And you know what's neat? I do a lot of laser work or designing on my laser, and the program on the laser program really did help me. You could get them, it has some really good ways of creating your own designs instead of using, and then when I did that, I moved it to a program called Tinkercad, and that's a 3D program that you use so that you could take that 3D item, it turns an SVG design item into a Tinkercad design. And so I did do that. And then, let me see. So you could literally just add and keep adding. So as a matter of fact, I have all this fabric. As I sit here after I get off the live, I'm probably going to keep on adding. You can also see that this is a little bit getting short. I was thinking, and this, tell me what you think. I was thinking of making some for queen, king size quilts, maybe extend the length a little bit longer, and then make smaller ones for twin and baby quilts, like make 3 different sizes, small, medium, and large. I was thinking, or small, medium, because there's some binding, for example, like I have enough binding probably for a small quilt here, a very small quilt. And then here I have enough binding for, see, like I was saying, I don't fold the binding. But even though I don't iron and fold it, when you're putting it on this item, you could just fold it as you go and it becomes the way you need it, and you save. I hated ironing that stupid binding. It's enough to put the binding together. Just, so like here I have that's supposed to be put. I have a drawer just shoved with, and what I do too is, and I don't know if you long armors do this, when you're trimming a large quilt, for example, I was trimming one of the quilts for Jess Jones that I'm going to send to her. There was that extra fabric for a large, beautiful quilt. I know, grab my drawer is good. And what I did is I turned that extra fabric, I folded it and just started doing binding strips because that fabric was a good 108 fabric. So you have the beautiful long binding strips. And when I send that quilt to Jess Jones, I may send her like one or two of these to bless her. And I think so I'm doing that. I told my one of my best friends, I said, I'm gonna go ahead and sell 10 for $25, and then if people want more, they could pay $2. This way, it takes about, I could only make four of these in a plate. And then my best friend, she goes, just pick all random colors for me. I don't care. And so the neat thing, there's that interchangeability. So all of these interchange with all colors. They don't, I'm going to go ahead and clip it. Look, and then I'm going to show you how beautiful. So you could do it this way. I'm going to put another butterfly back here. Or you could do it this way. I could do it this way. Isn't she beautiful? She's delicious. Or I could do it this way. I honestly think I'm a maker at heart. But yes. So if you want to support that wonderful lady, her I think she posted something because people were asking her if they could do something on the and they wanted her to remove her name off of the design because this does have her name on it. They wanted her to remove her name off the design, and some people were, she says, I'm leaving my name on the design because I don't want people to steal my design. And that's why I'm trying to be very careful. I've created my own version of it, but the geniusness of her idea kind of is very inspiring. I'm trying to make it my own in my own way, but you know, I want to give her credit because she did a beautiful job. She says that people are stealing her designs and stealing her ideas, and I want to just do this for a moment, and then I probably will make these for myself and give them away and share them with my clients, or just kind of do something like that, and not because I want to just support the content creator that created this. She did a beautiful job. But look at a beautiful deliciousness. And then so yeah. Anyway, let's go to the long arm. Row number 3, 4. Let me see what else. Let me move you so that you guys could see me fixing that row, which is so annoying. All right, hold on. Turn you around. Also, too, I have a couple other things to share. Come on. Don't look at the roof. So, yes, that's why my friend bought 10 from me. Let's see. Come on, get out. Please pan out. Please, Jesus. Pan out. Mm-hmm. Okay, whatever. Hold on, let me move you here. Let me move you here. Okay, I'm going to have to unroll her. Thank you. All right. I love it when I get to do something and it makes it creative, and then at the same time, it's an organizing thing. You can organize stuff. There's nothing like it. And then my drawer now, because I had a mess, there's some fabrics that I had there for years. I even think right now I had binding. I think I need to move it down. Okay, right here. I had binding for a couple quilts recently that I can't find. I don't know where I put it. I went to the quilt store and I bought binding fabric. Where is that? Okay. I can't find that marking point. Does it roll? I need to roll it just a little bit. Okay. Let me show you the quilt. Hopefully you can see how. Let me see. Hold on. Trying to move this. Hold on. Is this the one? I need to move here. Okay. I'm trying to get this to move for me. All right. Come on. I know you know how to work. Pan me out. Give me some open space. But let me move this here. I want you to see how wrinkled the quilt is. And then, so sorry. Do you see how you really even can't see how bad it is? I don't know if the camera is showing the truth. Like, let's see. I have cords and everything everywhere. Lord. Do you see the, now you can see the wrinkling. Hopefully I'll show it. Hopefully you can see it. Do you see that wrinkling? If I lift you up a little bit, what you could see is where I ironed and where I didn't iron. Do you see where I didn't iron and where I did iron over there on the inside? So what I'm going to do is I'm going to wet the fabric again. I know, it's just, do again. I'm going to wet the fabric again. And then hand press the fabric that I'm wetting. And then as I'm hand pressing the fabric, the reason I'm pressing is there's no science, okay? I'm just trying to get that moisture into the fiber. That's ultimately it. I want to make everything so scientific and professional. It's just really, you're trying to make sure that the fabric soaks in, because fabric or the water soaks in or the moisture soaks into the fiber, because it can just sit on the top layer and you want it in the fiber. Because the more you have the starch in the fiber, when you steam it, it will also steam it within, within itself, within. All right, let's see, one more. One more. And then, because it's wet, I'm going to move you down. You could also kind of stretch it. When you have, like this quilt is, it's sewn upward here. I'm going to show you it's sewn upward here, so it's short, and then it bows down here. And you want to kind of, where it's short, tug the fabric a little bit, and where it's not short, kind of don't tug it as much. Sorry I'm in your way. But, hold on. Then I'm going to go ahead and sew over here and then get the design ready. And then I have something else to show y'all, okay? Unsew, stitch. She's going to be beautiful when I'm done. Isn't she lovely? And you could sing at your quilt, you know. Your quilt needs to know that you love her. And that she's a treasure to you. I pray for my quilts, by the way. I pray for them. I pray for the people who are going to have them on their body. I pray for y'all. I pray, pray, pray. Hold on, let me see. Let me see if I can get this to not. Yep, a lot of pulling. Okay, let me see if I can get you. Come on, pan out. Please pan out. Yes, it's a lot of pulling. Let me show you. Let me bring you down. I want you to see the quilt. I'm not as important. These quilts are beautiful though. The other day I was real discouraged when I quilted one of these, and that's the one that I'm giving to one of the subscribers. And then you go under here because there's thread. Yeah, there's blue thread. I'm giving to one of y'all. I was so discouraged because I saw that one kind of pleated. I may give her this one instead. This one seems to be a little bit flat, or I'm working more on it and flattening it. I think when I was working on the other one, I was not feeling very well. And so I was like, just whatever. I don't care right now. It'll be fine. She's fine. But right now I'm working a lot on this one. I'm trying to make sure it's as flat as it can be. And sometimes you could just leave the iron on there, just like that. Let that iron just sit in space. I have different stupid ironing techniques. One is hover iron. The reason I hover iron is because, let's see, I'm doing a t-shirt quilt, and the t-shirt quilt has vinyl, or it has some screen printing on it. If you put the iron on that item, you do have the potential of melting the plastic, and then the plastic being on your iron. So I have, for t-shirt quilts, hover iron real close to the to the garment or the item, and then just hover with steam and just go back and forth. You're not putting any pressure. And then another technique is where you just sit that iron in place and set it and let it sit there. Ugh. Now I'm gonna get my magnets, and I'm gonna go ahead and just pull that fabric. But like when I'm gonna pull it, I'm gonna pull right there. That's why magnets are a blessing. I love magnets. And then you could use the magnet to hold the position. I don't know if you can see what I'm doing. And even though there is a little bit, there's really not a little bit of puddling here, I'm gonna iron it because the fabric is still kind of wet. Lorena. And then like over here, I need to make sure I iron that. And right here, it's kind of like a little bit wet. It's a dry. You still see that there's moisture in the fiber. And so here, I'm just gonna set that iron down. And I noticed, and then just splash it with some steam. And just hold it there where there was some pleating. I wish I could I need to get a camera to where I could just, look here. Let me move you here. Let me move you. I'm gonna move this camera over here so you can see exactly what I'm talking about, and it's not far away. All right, right here. I don't know if you see all this. So what I'm gonna do is I'm gonna get the iron, and I'm just gonna hold it there, and then while it's holding there, I'm gonna steam it. And do you see how it's not doing that weird pleating anymore? Now it's doing that weird pleating here, because anytime you iron, the fabric distributes itself. But that weird pleating is gone. And I noticed if you iron in the direction of that fabric, look how flat that is. Ain't she beautiful? Now you can see this area here, right here, is doing the same thing. And now it's completely flat. And then like here, you can see that the fabric is even still a little wet, which is good, because now inside, like right there, hopefully you can see. Let me move you here. Now you can see it inside. I'm thinking that I put the right camera on and it's not on. And just letting it set. And sometimes I'm in a hurry. I'll show you here again. And it's crazy, like even when fabric cools, it changes. Do you see how it's pleating a little bit? Just have it sit there. But usually sometimes when I'm doing, I'm in a hurry, and so I just iron everywhere. But you can take a minute and just hold it. Like this is gonna be. And it's honestly the best thing I've ever learned. And no one taught me. No one, I remember when I was, when I first started long arming, they used to say, there was a rule in the long arm quilting community, is that you don't touch a client's quilt in any way, that you just, you don't iron it. And there is a liability, right? If you iron a quilt and it starts to bleed, the fabric starts to bleed, or if you starch a quilt and the fabric starts to bleed, there is that liability that you could ruin a quilt. But I also found that without ironing a quilt sometimes, it's gonna look worse with all the pleats. But there used to be a rule, or I remember when I started long arming, they're like, I said, well, I iron my clients' quilts because I'm having problems with puddling, or I'm having problems with fullness, or I have to pleat, or this is what's going on. And I remember people were like, oh, how dare you? How could you? Why? That's not, you don't iron someone's quilt. I go, heck yeah, I do. I have to. And I think this is where long armers, people who have invested in long arm quilting or a long arm quilting machine, they are really proficient piecers. They're not, the people who have long arms are people who are proficient. They're piecers, they're pros. They're people that are serious about the craft, and they're really serious. And so when you talk to a long armer or a person who has a long arm, and they're working for themselves, meaning they got a long arm. Let me see. Sorry. They got a long arm for them to quilt their own quilts. Come on out. Come on out, baby. A lot of people who have long arm machines are people who know what they're doing. And so when you work for the community, you may be working for people who don't know what they're doing. Meaning, come on. So when I would go to class for long arm quilting, or there wasn't a class, it was a long arm quilting group. It was a long arm quilting group, and I told them that I had to iron. They'd be like, oh, how dare you? And I was like, I have to. I can't, this quilt is sold, and it's beautiful. She looks beautiful, but it's not, to be honest, it's not a professionally pieced quilt. To be honest, this is not a professionally pieced quilt. The piecing, the craftsmanship, no, it's not. She's not a professionally pieced quilt. Hold on, let me see. I'm trying to move you here. This is not. If I went and I took this to a real piecer, this would not. I've had beautiful clients that are beautiful piecers. They're professional. This is not a professional quilt. Come on. Come on, babe. Baby, come back. Come back. Yes, girl. Yes. You do what I need. I had a button fall off of here. What happened? No. There you are. Sorry, I'm having to go through the trash. I lost this button. This button. Hold on, let's see. So this is not a professional piece. So if you're going to go on Etsy and you're going to buy some of these quilts, just know that they're not professionally done. They're not. And it's not a very hard quilt to make, I don't think. And so when I used to go to Long Run Quilting, I would say, yeah, I have to iron and starch because I'm having pleating problems, or one part of the quilt is longer than the other, or one part of the quilt is the center short and it looks like a letter N on the they used to look at me like crazy because even Jamie Wallen one time made a comment. I think he was watching my quilts, one of my videos on fixing a warped quilt, and he goes, that's really not a thing. And I was like, how can you say that? I'm just sharing a video where it's warped. And it's not, people who bring him a quilt are not bringing him grandma pieced it when she's 90 years old kind of quilt. They're bringing him a beautiful piece quilt because it's Jamie Wallen who custom quilts beautifully, right? They're not bringing him the common person. They're not bringing him that quilt. Hold on. Let me see. I'm going to show you these. I'm so proud of these. And this is why I got a 3D printer. Let me show you. Oh. So yeah, Jamie Wallen does not have the kind of clients I have, I guess. And I have great clients. I found some of the quilts that I was sharing last week. They're quilts that I did in 2000, forever ago. And forever ago. Hold on, let me see. I'm gonna bring you here. I may let you go because it's like I just looked at the time like, oh my God, y'all have been with me for too long. I feel bad taking away from family. I wanted to share. I ended up making these. Remember these? Wait. Remember these? These are to hold my fabrics with the bobbin. But I ended up making 3D printed ones. I'm so proud. These took some engineering, skill making, trying to figure it out. But look. Isn't that beautiful? Hold on, let me get a spool to put them in. Hold on. Let me get a spool. Ow. To put them in. Oh no. Did you run out of thread? Yep, bobbin thread. All right, hold on 1 second. I wanted to show you these. They're here. Hold on. Let me move you down. They're here. They're not here. Isn't that genius? Isn't that genius? Hold on. Let me fill up this with a bobbin thread. Oh. I need to. What did I do with my thread? I'm looking for. See, I ended up making a whole box worth. you know, when you're designing something, it's a whole bunch of figuring it out. It doesn't come very easy. When I was trying to do the sticks, I ended up doing a stick on, well, I had a guy do them for me. He did it for me, and within 30 seconds of having it in my hands, I ended up breaking it. I was going to pay him quite a bit. I asked him to do them for me, and then he's ghosted me. He ghosted me. He won't. Hold on, I'm trying to get it. He ghosted me. I guess he ended up kind of hold on, see, let me see. I'm gonna start. No. Hold on one second. I'm so sorry. I'm trying to start the machine. And she's giving me a hard time. You have to feed the machine, but I've noticed that everything, like you have to feed. Oh no. That's not right, but it's okay. Where was I going to show you? Oh, I wanted to show you this too. So sorry. Let me bring you up. Let me bring you up. Hi, I'm back. I had to feed the bobbin machine. She had a, it just shows that picture. Nothing moving, but hey man, hold on. Thank you for watching me. You're so sweet. But look, on the Maker World, hold on. They made these. It took forever to print, but look, it's to store your bobbins. So I made two just to try it out. Now, I don't think I'll use these, to be honest. Maybe for specialty thread, maybe for the glow in the dark thread, I don't know. And the reason I don't think I'll use it, I made two. I think what I'm gonna do is, if I find somebody that has a gamel or a long arm, these are for end bobbins, but I did it for gamel. How beautiful it printed. I may just give them away to them. I'm bringing them up here just to get them out of my downstairs. But these are to store your bobbins. I believe you could store up to 35 bobbins. And then, because I do not store bobbins anymore this way, or I store my bobbins this way within the thread spool. And the reason I do it like this is not the same color as these, but I just wanted to show you the sample, or the reason is because I used to have a drawer full of bobbins. And so, like, this is a sample. Huh? No, hold on a second. Let me get these out. So I had to figure out how to make these little sticks. That was horrible. Now I know how. I had to also know how to do it with the screw. It has like a screw. And then, so I had to do the out and the in. Can you see it? Can you see it? And then I ended up having to make it a screw, because when I made these, so on the 3D printer, it prints on the horizontal. So I had to print these on laying them down vertically, so that it's a vertical, so when you put pressure on them, they don't break. A guy made one of these for me. Where is it? Where did I put it? And it was done on the horizontal. Oh, here it is. no, I think this is one of my samples. It was done on a horizontal where it just went up, and you put any pressure, it would break. I think this is one of my first, very, very, very first designs, because I made it small and I made it twist. Look, it twists. So I made these for my thread collection. But I ended up making the thread spool. I'm trying to find a lid. I'm sorry. She's like, why is she so distracted? Yeah. And they lock in. Mm-hmm. And it's this genius. And then, you know how I used to have bobbin thread nests? There's no bobbin thread nest because the thread is locked inside. Now, I do have some bobbins that are not wound right, but... And you can have it loose or you can have it tight. I did these for one of the subscribers who watches me, and she asked me to make them shorter. And I was making them taller because I have a taller shelf. She asked me if I would do them shorter for her. So I ended up doing, I think hers were 5 inches. 5 inches from the base to the thing. And I think these were bigger. But anyway, I made these too. Isn't that exciting? I'm so excited. Now I can't wait from changing from this style. No, this is my original style. And the reason I changed it from the plastic, because I was thinking that if I wanted to sell these, I would have to have y'all glue the base. Like I would laser cut these and laser cut the top, but then you would have to go and be gluing them. And so the reason I wanted to do these is because I already did the work for you, and all you had to do is just kind of screw them in and they sit perfectly. And they will break. Okay, I just broke it. But the other ones, I barely did anything and they broke on me. And, hold on, let me see. When I barely even put any type of pressure on there. Oh, let me see. Let me see if I could untorque it. So I've just been having fun with a 3D printer. No judging. I've been busy. I've been really busy. But we're almost done with this quilt. I don't want to keep you. I think we've been here almost, how long? I'm trying to look. Almost 2 hours, y'all. Y'all, we've been here for 2 hours. So I'm going to send, some of you message me. And if you've been on this live, maybe I'll give you a code word. I don't know, what kind of code word? If you guys have watched to the end, if you give me a code word, I'll probably send you one of these for free. Just love you. Just to love you. I guess the code word would be, what can I be a code word? Code word. Y'all give me a code word here. I have purchased. Okay, what code word can we use? What code word? Give me a code word, y'all. Three delicious. So if you guys comment 3 delicious, that lets me know that you watched till the end. And if you comment 3 delicious, you can message me on Messenger on Facebook, put 3 delicious, and I will send you something delicious that I made with my 3D. Yeah? Would that be fun? Some of you who are on my live right now, you just message me and I'll 3D delicious you. I'll 3D delicious you. I'll send you something 3D that's delicious to me. So 3D delicious is the code word, okay? I'm going to let you go. I love you. I thank you for being with you. Just Jones, your quilt is coming for you. And Kristen, I love you. Thank you for supporting me. And I know you text me because I'm going to show you, I'm going to send you a picture of a couple different ones, okay? But yes, I love you. Free Delicious. Free Delicious. I love you guys, okay? Thank you for watching and thank you for loving watching me. That makes me want to keep doing this. 3 Delicious. Send me a message on Messenger. And then I am going to start doing the Lorena's. What am I doing? The block swap, okay? I already have the list of names. I need to print them. I need to put them on there. I need to make a quilt top, and I'm getting ready. And we're gonna start organizing everything in August, and then we're gonna start doing it in September, and we're gonna, and I think anybody who participates in the block swap, I think I'll probably give everyone one of these for just being part of being part of the quilting family, being part of my life. All right, 3 Delicious, delicious, 3 Delicious, delicious. I love y'all. Thank you. So, okay, wait. Y'all need to message me on Messenger or on Lorena's Quilting Facebook group. If you go on the Facebook group and say 3 Delicious, this way I find you and this way I can message you and get your